Welcome everybody to the first Ordinary Council meeting of the Kaipara District Council on Wednesday the 26th of November 2025, broadcasting live from Maungaturoto Community Complex. Welcome to anyone that's viewing this online and welcome to everybody in the gallery. Thanks for coming and joining us. Well, we have a first item here and there are no apologies. And the next item on the agenda is to confirm the agenda for today. I will move that. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Williams, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Motion carried. Thank you. The next item is the conflict of interest declaration. I'm going to make a declaration on item 5.6. Do we have any other conflicts to declare? No? Okay. We just confirm by a vote? Or? No. It needs to. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the public forum, and we have one presenter today, which is Wero Takino, who will be presenting on the topic of the threat to eels in the Omamari stream from planned clearing work. So the way that the public forum works is that we have 5 minutes for the presentation, and then I'll have up to 5 minutes for questions, and we don't have an opportunity to respond, but we can ask questions. Okay, so welcome, Wero. Are you online there? You've got 5 minutes to speak to us. Thank you.
Yeah, Maungaturoto. Tēnā koutou e karaiti te waro tapu ioa. Homai, e kaha, e utu, te riri. Ahiu, karaiti, ihoa, te waro tapu, e hau I tēnei wā. Ko Omamari, mahu ki te rangi nā waka. Rōroa, nā te whātua Kaipara, tūri ahau nā iwi. Wakaraka, Pamatua, ahi kiwi, taita nā marae. Nā rangatara. Ko raro tuku pāpā, ko beti tuku mama, ko te wawa tuku ko tiro, ko Wero Takino taku ingoa. Tēnā koutou katoa. Whaia Alana, kore te reo Pākehā. Whaia Alana, can you play that 15-minute video if it's possible? 15-second one, I mean.
Ready to you. I can
Can
play
you
that.
play it, please?
50.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Yep.
Okay, those are that's when I was 10 years old. My pet eels, our sacred eels, they're handed down from our father, over 60 years old. They're over 60 years old, and those, you've already slaughtered them twice, okay? The first time, my father had passed away when we did that, was on top half. We put that on top half, and basically, well, that's enough, fire, thank you. That's enough of that. I just wanted to show you that what I'm saying is the truth. Those are our sacred eels, okay? They've been with us for over 60 years. The first time when we slaughtered them, in conjunction with the racist Pākehā farmer, solely for his farm, and for no other reason, I was just a child, as you can see. Mum was grieving over the loss of her husband and her father. So, and I remember as a child, and I wrote this in my book, following the diggers as they dug up our sacred eels and buried them alive. It was very traumatic. It happened a second time And the second time it happened was, I was in the South Island at the time. By the time I found out, it was too late. When I came back, that already been happened. Now you once again want to try and do the same thing, and it's not going to happen. I was a child back then. I'm 56 years old now. There's over 100 of our. So thankfully, when you stuck them up and you slaughtered many, numerous, some survived each time you slaughtered them. And so there's over 100 there. I'm in Tamaki Makaurau right now, but I said to my cousin, if they try and do a sneaky one, let me know, and I'm going to be straight back up there, stopping it physically. I don't know why I did the proposition to both the racist Pākehā farmer, but he just put his nose up at it. And when I said it to the white person, Wayne, who was there. But anyway, I'm sort of like, for me, I don't even want to be here. I've got other things to do. I'll tell you straight up. I'm just sick and tired of this. I thought we allowed our whānau, allowed the council to dig up 90% of the creek. 90%. All we asked was that 100 metres to be left alone for our eels. That's all we asked for. And this is solely for the racist Pākehā farmer for his farm. It's for no other reason. My brother, who's a certified drain layer, says it'll be about the stopping the flooding will be minuscule because it's so deep already. There's pukeke there, there's swans even come there, there's ducks, there's our sacred eels, there's many. I've spoken to DOC, I've spoken to Ministry for Primary Industries, I've spoken to Northland Regional Council, I've spoken to the courts. I'd rather resolve this in a peaceful manner. But I can promise you, and I don't know if you fellas read my email, but I meant every word I said. Every word I said, mate. I'm not going to allow it to happen. I'm not going to allow it to happen. And I'm not being melodramatic. I'm 56 years old. Okay? And like many Māori, I was brought up Māori. I've got my beautiful Pākehā mother and grandfather who I love dearly. But I was brought up Māori, and I've seen the extreme racism, which is 100% with the regime that's in power now. It's just unbelievable.
Excuse me, Wero, thank you. We've run over time with your 5 minutes.
Okay.
Are you happy to wrap up now? You can say a few words to wrap up if you want to, or you pretty much complete.
No. So yes, I'm just saying to you, I offered the opportunity to manually clear it, and I'll actually come and help and organise people to come and help too. So it's only 100 metres. Get Te Roro on board, the council workers on board. I can organise people, and everyone's happy.
Thanks. Thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. Do any of the elected members have questions to ask of Wero? Councillor Szymanski.
Yes, sorry, Wero, just in relation to where the stream actually exits onto, is it Omamari Beach, is it?
Omamari Beach, yeah.
Yeah. So is it the last 100 metres prior to it exiting out onto the beach itself? Is it?
No, it's at the back of our house. So when you see the Māori flags, like we're the only house with the Māori flags, right directly at the back of there, from the point of a culvert up to where the thingway is, that's it. All the rest it's already been dug. It's already been dug. So
And
it's just
how
100 metres.
And how deep is this culvert currently?
It's not a culvert, it's a creek.
Drain? Yeah.
It's not a drain, it's a creek. It's not a drain or culvert, it's a creek.
Okay, so how deep is this creek?
Culverts and drains don't have pukeko in them, ducks in them, swans in them. They don't have eels in them, they don't have fish in them, it's a creek. They don't have watercress in them, it's a creek.
Yeah, the depth and width of it?
Well, with depth, it's like when I jump in, because I swim with the eels when I feed them, okay? When I jump in, it's up to here. And it's way down, so the council has to use a specialised digger to dig the creek up. That's how deep it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. One more question from councillor Tane.
Yeah, kia ora, Ben. Look, my question is, has there been a commitment from the community and from Te Roroa to go in there and manually clean that 100 metres?
Well, yeah, like when we had the hui, I don't know if you heard about the hui. I was like caught off guard when the rangatira said that to me. So like when the mātua said that to me, and he says, "Oh, so which point?" So he put me on the spot, and because he's a kaumātua like yourself, I sort of reluctantly said, "Oh, from this point." But I never agreed to that. I was really upset about it. Then I emailed him the next day and I says, "Oh, look, I'm not happy about that." Yeah. So it's only 100 metres, and with a working bee of council workers, the community, I'd get all my whānau, as many as I could, to come on board. I put on a barbie or a hangi or whatever. I put on a hangi. One day it could be done. They did it before down at Omamari. We did it before down at Omamari Beach itself, where the beach is, but not for the eels, because it was all clogging up because it was so hot.
All right, thank you very much for your attendance. We'll move on now. Thank you.
Okay, kia ora. So I hope you all take on board what I said, and I appreciate that. Okay, tēnā no tātou katoa. Kia ora.
Okay, we're moving on to item number 3 now, which is the elected member maiden speeches for the 2025 to 2028 triennium for new elected members. And so everyone has the opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes, and some have indicated they wanted to and some haven't, but I'll give everyone the opportunity to speak if you want to. So the first alphabetically is Councillor Luke Canton. Do you want to speak at all?
Very briefly, Your Worship. I'm going to stand for this. I'd just like to take a moment to say thank you to all the people that helped me with the election process, all the voters that put their trust in me to be here, the welcoming nature of the existing councillors who have been very obliging, showing us a few ropes. The staff have all been fantastic to deal with so far, and I'm really looking forward to getting into the work and doing the best I can for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Canton. The next is Councillor Josephine Nathan.
Thank you for setting the scene there. Kia mai tātou. This is a great opportunity for me to obviously thank all of my supporters, and yeah, so kia mai tātou. Ko Josephine Nathan ahau, ko Gasrau, ko Ella Okumatua, ko Ngāti Whātua, ko Ngāti Kahu, ngā iwi, ko Haumoi Wārangi te rangatira, ko te riohau te hapu. It is an honour to deliver my maiden speech as a newly elected councillor for the Kaipara district. My name is Josephine Nathan, and I am deeply grateful for the trust the people of Kaipara have placed in me. This election holds deep meaning for me. This was my 3rd attempt at standing for council, and I'm proud that perseverance, commitment, and belief in our district have brought me here today. I did not give up because I believe in the future of Kaipara and the people who call this place home. Although elected from the Wairua ward, I understand clearly that I now represent all of Kaipara. The responsibility is one I take seriously. To everyone in the Wairua ward who supported me, whether I was your first vote or your second, I thank you. Your trust in me is something I hold with respect. I'm here to work hard, to listen, and to serve all corners of our community, rural and town, Māori and Pākehā, young families, long-time locals, new residents, and everyone who calls Kaipara home. I would also like to acknowledge the significance of standing here as a first Māori woman with a kauae to serve on this council. For me, the kauae symbolises responsibility, integrity, and continuity, a reminder to serve with honesty and purpose. My connection to Kaipara is deep and genuine. My father was raised in Kaiwaka. My great-grandfather, Parani Netana, was from Kaihu, and his wife, Ngaiti Phillips, from Otamatia. My grandmother, Lorna, on my father's side, was born and raised in Poutou. Through them, I whakapapa across the entire district, from Poutou to Kaihu to Kaiwaka. These connections ground me, guide me, and remind me that the decisions made here affect not only today's communities, but also the places my ancestors call home. My priorities as councillor are straightforward and focused on service, strengthening our infrastructure and ensuring our roads and services meet the needs of a growing district, supporting sustainable and responsible planning, promoting community wellbeing and resilience, that's a big one for me, whānau mā, and maintaining transparency, accountability, and public trust in our decision-making. I also want to share light on the positive achievements across Kaipara. Our district is full of people, organisations, and initiatives doing exceptional work. Highlighting these strengths builds pride, unity, and momentum. To my fellow councillors, I look forward to working constructively with each of you. I value the experience you bring, and I'm committed to contributing with professionalism and respect. To my whānau friends and supporters, and everyone who encouraged me through 3 election campaigns, thank you. Your encouragement, faith, and patience made this moment possible. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter, not just for me, but for the district I'm proud to represent. I'm ready to listen, to learn, and to work hard for the people of Kaipara. My commitment is to serve with integrity, energy, and genuine desire to help shape a positive future for our district. And you guys are all my extended whānau, council, and our amazing team. I'm really proud to be a part of our group. Kia ora mai tātou.
Councillor Nathan. Next person on my list is Councillor Denise Rogers.
A very quick one. So I want to say I'm very grateful for having been chosen by the voters of Otamatia to advocate for them. I think the strong positive team we have here is all dedicated to working together to unite Kaipara to achieve great results. I'm keen to see common sense being used to do the very best we can to keep costs down for our ratepayers and work hard to get the best value for money possible. My aim is to be active and engaged in our local communities to bring the local voice to the table and communicate between council and community. I want to give my sincere thanks to those who supported me getting here. Making decisions that affect the ratepayers of Kaipara is a responsibility that I will not take lightly. We are blessed to live in such a beautiful area, which we can all be very proud of. I'm looking forward to a positive and productive 3 years ahead working with this wonderful team. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. And next on my list is Councillor Mike Szymanski.
Thank you, Your Worship. Small speech. I want to thank the people who have voted me in. I'm not going to take that lightly. I think I've got a good background to help support this whole team within the roading network and within some of the decision making to keep it a positive and level playing field. I support all the district, from Otamatia Ward, from the local ward, right through to Dargaville and Mangawai, and wish to try and do the very best that I can for you guys. Thank you.
Councillor Szymanski. And finally, Councillor Snowtani.
Tēnā rā koutou katoa, e te koro matua Larson, me te koro matua Tuarua Lambert, me ngā mema o te kaunihere o Kaipara, nei rā te mihi mai oha ki a koutou katoa. I would like to acknowledge His Worship, Mayor Larson, Deputy Mayor Lambert, and the elected members of the Kaipara District Council, my sincerest greetings to you all.
Okay.
First and foremost, I want to say that I'm humbled to be here today. Being elected to represent the Wairoa Award is not something I take for granted. It is an honour and it carries the weight of trust that our people have placed in me. More importantly, being elected is not just about serving one ward, it's about working for all of Kaipara. As a councillor, my role must be to contribute positively to the future of Kaipara, to be solutions focused, grounded and forward looking. We face challenges, but we also have real opportunities if we stay aligned and focused. Our priorities this term are clear and achievable. Focus on infrastructure with safer roads, reliable water systems, and strengthening what we already have. Fiscal responsibility is a core priority. We are caretakers of ratepayer money. That means disciplined budgeting, transparent decisions, and investing where there is clear community value. Rates affordability is another key priority. Where rising cost of living, we must prioritise wisely so essential investment continues without placing unnecessary pressure on households, pensioners, farmers and small businesses. District-wide growth is another priority and must benefit all of Kaipara. Supporting sensible development, enabling housing, strengthening our towns and backing opportunities that lift the well-being and resilience across the district is essential. Kaipara is growing and we need to ensure that growth works for everyone. Throughout this term, I am committed to respectful, principled decision-making. We won't always agree, but we can always act with respect. Good governance requires balance, consistency, and a willingness to listen. Above all, I believe in a connected and unified Kaipara, a district where communities feel heard, valued, and included. So today, as we begin this new term, I offer my full commitment to all of Kaipara. I will work hard, contribute positively, and remain grounded in the values of integrity, respect, and service. Nā reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rata.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Tane. We now move to item 4, which is confirmation of the minutes from our 12th of November meeting. I'm happy to move that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Lambeth, thank you. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carried. Now we move to our decision items. And the first item, item 5.1, is the annual report adoption 2024-2025. And we have a staff recommendation before us, which you'll see on page 7 of your agenda and also on the screen. So I'm happy to move that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gibson is the seconder. And presenting to us this morning, we have Jessie Sue and our auditors. If you could perhaps just introduce yourselves to the room, seeing as it's our first meeting, all of the staff that present and external presenters, please. Explain who you are and what your role is to the new council.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Worship and councillors. My name is Jessie Allison. I'm a chartered accountant and I'm the manager of the finance function. My role includes a lot of things, but today I'm here to present about the 2025 annual report.
Sue Davidson, GM Corporate Services, in charge of finance is one of my streams. And but Jessie will do the presentation of the report. I'll be here to answer questions.
Morning, everyone. My name is Benny Grayling, representing Deloitte. I'm appointed on behalf of the OAG to carry out the audit of the financial statements and statement of service performance that you see in the annual report.
Morning, I'm Ethan. I'm the audit manager for Kaipara District Council, so I support Danny in the audit of council.
Thanks, everybody. All right, the floor is yours, Jessie.
Thank you, Your Worship. I do appreciate this is your first council meeting as a new council. So we'll explain why we are here, what happens next, and give you a summary of the annual report itself. I'll then hand over to Benny from Deloitte, who will talk to the audit part in the audit report, which is attachment C of your report. And then you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. So the annual report is a statutory document. It must be audited. The document, which is the first attachment of your report, reports on council's actual financial results in comparison with what was planned for the year in the budget. The annual report for adoption today concerns the actual results for the 12-month period ended 30 June 2025, earlier this year, and we are comparing that performance against what we had planned to do in the first year of the long-term plan set by the previous council. For councils, our budget reports that we adopt, such as the long-term plan or the annual plan, are not just financial, they also describe the work we will do and what the money that we take is going to be spent on. We are not just audited on our finances, but also on our statement of service performances. Inside your attachment 1, the document attached to your report today, the annual report has 3 parts. The first part is the introduction. It includes some statutory declarations. It is where the auditor's opinion letter will sit, and it tells you about some of the things we have achieved in the year. The second part of the annual report document are about each group of activities which are set in the long-term plan. In this section are the statements of service performance, which have their own set of audit procedures and funding impact statements for each group of activity. These first 2 parts have been presented to the previous council, except for the funding impact statements which finance prepares. The final part of the annual report, part 3, which starts on page 111 of the annual report document, is all about our finances. That's the finance section and includes all your financial statements. The normal process for an annual report adoption, which is what we are here to do, involves first going to the Audit, Risk and Finance Committee meeting, where the committee normally recommends to council whether or not to adopt the annual report. So when we come to council for a decision, normally the Audit, Risk and Finance Committee have had a deeper dive into the results, but also the audit points. So due to the elections and the process required around recounts sought, the inaugural meeting to swear you all in was delayed. It meant that we didn't have an October council meeting to adopt the annual report. And in addition, there were some additional audit procedures that were performed this year. And those things combined resulted in us not being able to adopt the annual report last month, which it would have been on time, and we are now adopting late. Because we are adopting late, it means inside the annual report, there are some additional disclosures around why we've done that, and it just talks about the recount. Because we didn't have an Audit, Risk and Finance Committee, we were unable to take the normal process, and that's why we have attachment B on your report from our previous Audit, Risk and Finance independent chair, just to give you a little bit of comfort, seeing as the normal process wasn't able to be taken. So I wanted to point out one of the recommendations in your agenda today is that you delegate the CEO responsibility to approve editorial changes. It says in the recommendation this will not change the intent of the information. However, it just enables us to do those editorial changes. So what that means is annual report that is on your report today is an attachment to this report item. It will differ very slightly to the finalised version that is published and available on our website, which happens after you adopt today. There are certain things we need to do to the annual report. Just to let you know, dating the signatures, for example, and inserting the auditor's opinion letter, and we're reordering the columns for the funding impact statements and creating a bilingual version of the annual report. So all of that will happen before we publish. And we're also required to furnish a summary annual report and publish that, which we will do following adoption today. So the work is not quite finished and there's still a raft of things to finish off with. So now I have explained the process and why we are here and what will happen after your decision to adopt today. Next, I'll just give you a summary of the finances, which start on page 111 of your attachment. And this is the finance section that you haven't had an opportunity to see yet. So at page 111, you have your statement of comprehensive revenue and expense. And at page 113, you have your statement of financial position. This is about your assets and your liabilities and your income and your expenses. So as part of my role at council, I present every month a finance report on where we are tracking, budget versus actual, and explain the variances that we have. The Audit, Risk and Finance Committee also receive this information quarterly. The variances discussed by me soon should not be a surprise to the elected members that were part of the previous term, as these have been reported throughout the year as we went through. But to quickly orient yourself, you have in the financial statements 2025 actual results in the left-hand column, the 2025.
Sorry to interject,
Yes.
Jessie, it might be useful for viewers online and maybe for elected members to find things if we were to display the page of the agenda whilst you're talking through it. Is that?
Yes, I don't know, have the agenda.
No, not you. It will happen up here.
Yes, that's fine. You can absolutely, if you want to display page 111 of the annual report, that is a statement of comprehensive revenue and expense.
Just pause for a moment and give Alana a chance to locate that, and that will probably mean more to people if they have images, not just words.
Yeah, it's page 121 of the agenda. That's the statement of comprehensive revenue and expense. Yeah.
Which is 121.
121, the printed version, but if you use a PDF, it's 125 of 561. 3 different versions.
You want to go back up, Alana, to the statement of
Yeah.
to page 111. So that's your financial, next one up, 2 more pages. There we go. Okay, so just to orient yourself quickly, what we're looking at is our actual financial results, 2025 in the left-hand column. In the middle column, you actually have our budget, the rates that we took. And we have in the final column, the previous year's annual report for comparative purposes, the actual results that we had last year. So overall, if we're looking at this, the council finished the year with an operating surplus of 24 million against a budget of 25 million. Why was that? If we look to revenue overall was 350,000 behind budget. But it was 1.8 million behind budget if you excluded treasury investment gains, which were in essence unbudgeted. In activity income, the largest variances relate to waste levies received, which was a correction this year, and building consent revenues. Investment incomes are well ahead of budget as we were able to invest and receive interest on our higher than anticipated cash balances, driven largely by the delay in the capital works program. Expenditure was largely on track to budget, with any overspends being met by underspends elsewhere, and repairs and maintenance of our infrastructure was our greatest cost. We were significantly under budget on employees, as we did carry significant vacancies in key roles throughout the 2025 year. So just to note, we did have the restructure, which came into effect on the first day of this financial year, as well as the Northland Transport Alliance disestablishment a few months later. This all had a large impact on our delivery for the 2025 year. And thankfully, I don't see this trend of coming so far under budget on our employee benefits continuing into the 2026 financial year, as some of those key roles have been filled now. The variances to note in expenditure are unbudgeted costs of $100,000 for forgiveness of the Mangawhai Museum loans that the council decided upon at the annual plan, and $471,000 for other legal and settlement costs. Conversely, there was also savings against budget of $557,000 in IT and softwares, $65,000 in insurance premiums where we are seeing a softer market, and $75,000 in arborist services where they had previously been higher in the budgets for the Cyclone Gabrielle recovery works. Council elected members already adjusted the annual plan 2026 budgets in these areas to ensure ratepayers benefit from these savings that we've achieved. Similar to investment income, finance costs are under budget largely due to the delay in capital works program, where $30.3 million has been carried over from 2025 to 2026. This carryover amount was initially expected in the budgeted figures to exhaust cash balances and increase debt, but this did not eventuate, resulting in the Treasury surpluses that I've described. These Treasury surpluses, so investment revenues and finance cost savings, plus the employee benefit surpluses, were put to good use by the previous council and staff. These were used to offset one-off unforeseen costs during the annual plan preparation to prevent additional rates rises occurring for those costs in the 2026 year that we're currently in. Finally, just at the balance sheet, if you scroll down potentially a little bit to the next page, the next table one, next one down. Yeah, so the balance sheet's here. This describes our assets and our liabilities, but the high level biggest impact, just to describe for you, is that council has an asset base of 1.25 billion. That increased from 1.15 billion in the prior year. Council revalues its infrastructure on a cycle basis, with Three Waters and land drainage related infrastructure being revalued for 2024 and roading infrastructure being revalued for 2025. So we've only revalued roading in the annual report that you are looking at, and the increase in value of roading from 2024 to 2025 was 86.63 million. And that's reflective largely of increasing materials costs, the cost of aggregate on the road. And that was not unexpected. So the final thing was just the CapEx that we've achieved. And so during the year, council completed $40.3 million of capital works against a capital budget of $77.4 million. So those are the key points we are reporting in our annual report. There is a raft of information to take in. I am able to take questions and you may have a number. However, first I'll hand over to Benny Grayling from Deloitte and he will present to you on the audit and the audit findings in your attachment C.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, Benny.
Just for everyone's benefit, I'll just recap from, because we had a similar, the document that you have in front of you, which I'll take as read, follows on from a planning document that was circulated a couple of months ago, pre-balance date. And the purpose of the document is really to communicate to the Audit and Risk Committee the purpose of the audit, how we carry out the audit, because we engaged to, as Jesse mentioned, to audit the financial statements and the statements of service performance that sits in the annual report. There's a set of rules or standards that govern how you account for things in the financial statements, how you disclose things, and as well in the statement of service performance. So our audit, the purpose and our opinion that we form is as to whether the financial statements and the service performance has been presented and accounted for in all material respects in accordance with those standards. Now, as part of that process, we do get to see, procedures, policies, controls, and things that sit behind that. And part of this document is to communicate deficiencies or observations around, those controls. That's the purpose of this document. So what I might do is, and I don't know exactly what page number it is on your pack, but if you go through the document, to pause on the area of focus dashboard, and I'll do it in two parts. I'll deal with the numbers part first, and then we can talk about the controls and the processes.
You can refer to the page of your report.
Page 7 on our report. Yeah,
I've got paper documents.
oh yeah, that's right. So, and I'll deal with so probably the main focus area for this year was the revaluation of the infrastructure assets. Purely because of the size of that number. It's a big number that sits in the account. It's a huge asset base. The accounting rules that govern how you strike value, how you account for it, it's quite a lot of judgment that goes into that. There's external valuers involved in that. So because of that, we treat it as a key focus area. We do a lot of procedures, and you will see them set out in the detail in the report, and that involves looking at the valuers' reports, looking at their workings, performing some testing, actually speaking to them, talking to management, looking at the disclosures in the financial statements and the likes, and then concluding as to whether that's materially correct or not. So we have a couple of observations, not on the number itself. We're happy with where the number landed and that the judgments are sound, but some observations around, and it comes from the process itself, which we can deal with later. So fine with that. The other part is about rates. Now, it's slightly different to a for-profit entity. Rates are set in the LTP as it's struck. We just do some checking around the process that's been followed. Has council got a legal review done? There's a checklist that we do around that every year to make sure, that what the rates that were struck, materially, the number that you see in the accounts. Again, we've done that, and there wasn't anything on that. And we do the same with the statement of service performance, those activity statements, how they're presented, do testing around that. Again, fine with overall materially, that statement is materially correct and in line with the standard, but again, I have some observations around where things could be improved. So pause there if there's no questions or anything on that before I'll just maybe deal with the, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Williams.
Your Worship. I did send a question through yesterday. Did you see it?
That's the one we talked about, Benny, the timing.
The timing in terms of how, so the way.
Do you want me to read it?
Yes, if you can,
Yeah, sure, if you could.
can state the question so that it's
I just
record.
asked on 5.1 attachment C, where deficiencies or significant deficiencies have been flagged in the report, what timeframe must be adhered to rectify these areas of concern? Yeah.
Well, as soon as practical possible. It's not always practical to do all of these, you've got to prioritize them ideally, what is significant, what is important, and then, prioritize it as soon as possible.
And just further to that?
Yes.
So is that something that would go to the Audit Risk and Finance Committee to be monitoring and?
That typically that goes to the Audit and Risk Committee. Typically, we present this to the Audit and Risk Committee, and there will be decisions made and an action plan put in place normally to say this is how it should be dealt with, and then goes back to management and reported on as part of that committee's regular reporting. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Any other questions at this point? Councillor Canton.
Your Worship. I just note that one of the findings was regarding the data kept on asset management, so it's effectively a large depreciation schedule, I imagine. And that's going back to 23. Just wondering if that's being held up, because from our briefings, I believe that we're looking at changing some of our computer systems and trying to bring this all under one, because at the moment they're all spread out. No changes around that?
So Benny will go through each of his findings, I think, will you, going to go first, but yeah, in answer to your question, there's two systems. One's the accounting financial system, which does the depreciation. The other one's the asset maintenance system. And generally, it's because those two systems, we haven't had people in charge of asset management. We've had no roading asset manager, no water assets manager. So those haven't been updated at the same time, and the conversations haven't been occurring during the year because there's been no personnel in those positions. There you go.
Yeah. I guess I'll go back to the control observation. So you'll see one of the headings on that first page was management overrider controls. And that really goes to, so have an internal control framework in place. You know, things get approved, you get established track policies and procedures. There's always a possibility that that could be overridden in one way, shape or form. You know, somebody in management could perhaps process a journal entry in the accounting system to override things and manipulate numbers. So we need to be cognizant of the fact that that could happen. So we do testing and look at, you know, things that could point to, you know, indicators of that, where that could happen. We've done that. We found, as part of the procurement process in particular, a number of observations where council policies, and you see them listed out there, the stated policies and procedures in the council's own policy documents haven't been followed. Right. So done follow-up testing on that, looked at, and while the work that we've done in that area doesn't suggest that the number that sits in the accounts, that it's accounted for correctly, and it's fairly stated in the accounts, that not following those processes and procedures just elevates that risk of somebody that could exploit that, or somebody that can override a control or commit fraud in one way, shape or form. So we're not saying we found evidence of fraud or anything, but that the frequency and the nature of them is such that, you know, it's not a healthy control environment to effectively prevent that from happening. So that's the point we're trying to make there. So, but I'm happy to take any questions on any of the specifics on that, but we've listed them out.
Just in the interests of time, I think we'll run through your commentary on your report and then we'll take any further questions from there. Yeah.
You're talking about the specific findings?
Well, whatever you were wanting to present, but it's been.
Yeah, so
you might,
that's so we won't count that. And then the final page 22 of our report, there's a summary of unadjusted differences. So those are numerical audit errors that we found in the numbers through the testing. And you'll see there's a list of errors that were found in the prior year's numbers from the previous audit. They carry over into the current year. It's a rolling schedule. Those have not been adjusted in the financial statements on the basis that they are not material. So there's a materiality threshold at play. They're not material individually or in aggregate. So, but we have to present them and communicate it to council. That doesn't impact our audit opinion. At the end of the day, our audit opinion will be a standard audit opinion that states that the accounts and the statement of service performance is materially correct in accordance with the standards. The only other thing that will be added this year is to do with the Local Waters Done Well program, which is disclosed in the last note of the annual financial statements about the fact that new water entity has effectively been approved and it's going to be established. The impact of that is uncertain, and the financial impact of that still needs to be quantified. So our audit opinion will just draw emphasis to that particular disclosure. It's not a qualification or modification to our opinion. In that sense, it's clean. So that's probably all I wanted to talk about, and happy to take questions.
Okay, are there any other questions? Oh. Okay, thank you, Benny. If you just go to page 24, have at the bottom of that page the outstanding matters required before we can issue our opinions. And could you just talk to us about that, please?
Those effectively have all been resolved.
All been resolved?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the time we wrote this and it came way out where there was just a final last couple of points that we need to close out. The only last piece of documentation we need from council today is our representation letter. It's been circulated, and we've already sent out inquiries to management around subsequent events, which we need a response on the day of adoption. So those are the only two things, but the rest have all been concluded now.
You were asked a question earlier about the time frame for dealing with issues that had been identified, and you said as soon as practicable. From a council perspective, can you indicate what that might mean in terms of time frame?
How quickly it should be resolved, yeah.
Well, I'd perhaps then ask of Jesse or Sue, what would your expectations be around that?
So now that we're getting near a full complement of staff, we should be able to fix the asset management teams talking to the finance teams. It's the valuation of the assets. With the procurement, we'll look at how we can deal with that internally and put stricter controls in place.
As a ballpark figure, then what sort of time frame are you expecting that to happen? Is it 1 month, 6 months?
Within the next 6 months, I would say. Would you?
These things are easy to do once they're set up. So set up and implementation of systems, that will actually take a little bit of time. Once they're set up, it won't be too much of a major.
Your expectation would be it would be completed within what time frame?
Depends on the setup and implementation. It really depends on our ability to get that resource in to do the work that's required. So we will plan it and mitigate that around our annual planning. And it's something that management and I have to discuss, really, and make a plan potentially with you. Sure.
So perhaps that'll be reported back to us at a council briefing or
More likely the Audit Risk and Finance
Audit Risk
Committee.
and Finance
Yeah,
Committee.
it's where it will get sorted through quite
Yeah.
formally in a structured way.
Okay.
So we'll make a determination and report that back to the Audit Risk and Finance Committee.
Plan of attack. Yep. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. You can stand down. Could have the motion. So this is the motion that we have on the table. Just want to correct for the record at part D. It was indicated that the delegation had been made to the chief executive during the reporting, but it's actually been made to the mayor and the chief executive jointly there. So this is
Your worship, is that part B?
it's correct in the agenda, part D. The delegation at part D. It's correct in the agenda. It was during the presentation from staff. It was indicated that it was only delegated to the chief executive, but it's delegated to the mayor and the chief executive jointly. So this is a significant piece of work to get this signed off, and with some delay, and we've finally got there, and I feel satisfied that we've had a very thorough audit, and it's raised areas for improvement, which is what we want to see, and I look forward to seeing a program of work set out for us to ensure that we do make those improvements and that we know by when they're expected to be made. And over to you as the seconder, Councillor Jepson. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've got nothing to add. I'm satisfied with what I've seen. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Williams.
Your Worship. I'd just like to thank the staff for the hard work that they've put into this annual report. Yeah, it's very comprehensive, so thank you.
Anyone further? Okay, I have nothing further to add, so I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. And next, we are moving to item 5.2, which is the committee structure, membership and outside appointments for the 2025 to 2028 triennium. And we have a staff recommendation before us, which I'm happy to move. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Lambeth, thank you. The reporting on this is Alana Thurston. Thank you, Alana.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this item sets out the committee structure for the 2025-28 premium. His Worship the Mayor has used his powers under Section 41A of the Local Government Act to establish committees and to appoint the chairs and members of those committees. So these are internal appointments that council are required to note. And then there are also recommendations to council to approve representatives to the joint regional committees and as well as the external appointments. So the joint regional committees are in attachment B of the report, and the external appointments are in attachment C of the report. There's probably not much more to add here. If you have any questions for clarification, last probably His Worship the Mayor for attachment A, unless you want to speak to your memorandum.
Not sure. So I think we'll just start with, are there any questions for Alana or anyone else? Anyone wants to ask? Councillor Tani.
Thank you, Worship. I've noted that there's no representatives being proposed for the Climate Change Committee. What process and criteria will be utilised to nominate a councillor if it's something that needs to be looked at or wanted to be looked at?
Thank you. I'll refer that to our Chief Executive, Jason Maris.
Thank you, Worship. So you can use the meeting process, Councillor Tane, now to nominate people if you wish, by moving an amendment to that to include nominations. At this stage, there have been no nominations put forward, so that's what we're reporting through to Council.
Yeah, there is also an opportunity to subsequently constitute or nominate as well.
Through you, Your Worship. So yes, if the council wants that in the future, that can be done in the future as well. It's not a fait incomplete. It's not an end of the story here. If that's the question.
Any other questions? All right, that's quite straightforward. We'll move to statements then. So, in formulating the position for attachment A, I've talked to all of the elected members and discussed interests and strengths, and I think we have quite a good structure here in terms of the attachments B and C. They aren't my decisions, but they are a starting point for us to get everything into place in terms of balancing workload and accommodating people's interests. These things aren't set in stone, and we need to be dynamic around that as well. Things may change. We might want to change them in the future. But I feel satisfied that we've had some pretty good insight into this of balancing things as best we can and accommodating people's strengths and interests. And so I'm happy to proceed with them as in the agenda. Councillor Lambeth.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. There's nothing much more to add. It was going through and getting the balance right between workload and skill sets, and also previous history with what's worked well in different committees. So yeah, I'm happy to forward this document.
Thank you, Councillor Lambeth. Does anyone else wish to speak to the motion? No one further? Okay, I've got nothing further to add, so I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carried. Thank you. We will move to item 5.3, which is the Kaipara District Council terms of reference for the 2025 to 28 triennium. Thank you. We have a motion, a recommendation from staff. I'm happy to move that. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Williams, thank you. Thank you once again, Alana.
So yeah, this item follows on from the last one. It's the terms of reference for the council committees and working groups for the 2025-2028 triennium. Yeah, council is being asked here to adopt the terms of reference as set out in attachment A.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? No questions. This is easy. We might get a lunch break today. All right, we have no questions. And so, yeah, this is a framework we need to set out so we know how we're operating the various committees. There's written up here. And I will move to Councillor Williams. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not much more to add. I think it's pretty clear and concise and easy to understand.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Anyone else wish to speak to this motion? No? Okay, put to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carried. Thank you. We'll move on to item 5.4, which is the Northland Water Done Well elected member steering group. We have a staff recommendation before us. Have a mover for that, please. Councillor Jepson, and a seconder. Councillor Szymanski, thank you. All right, speaking to this item is Sue Davidson. Thank you, Sue.
Yes, and I'm speaking to this item because I'm on the project steering working group for staff. So in 2023, central government announced the intention to repeal 3 waters, and we began work with our 2 adjacent councils to explore the water delivery options. This has resulted in the council adopting the Water Services Delivery Plan in August 2025. So we're working together towards forming a CCO for regional water services by the 1st of July 2026 to be fully operational by 1st of July 2027. So this paper is about adopting the terms of reference to appoint council representatives, and those are named in the recommendation: Mayor Larson, Councillor Jepson, Councillor Williams as the council representatives on the elected members steering group. The elected members steering group will then look at overseeing the development and implementation of the new water organisation, including reviewing applications and recommending appointments to the establishment advisory group. So you may well have seen in the newspapers that we've been advertising for an advisory group. This is like a board of directors that will help guide the councils as to the formation of the CCO. And from the 1st of July 2026, there will be a new board of directors appointed to the newly formed CCO at that time. So it's fairly straightforward in terms of appointing representatives from this council to represent Kaipara District Council on the Northland Water Done Well, which is the new name for our local water done well.
Wonderful, thank you, Sue. That sounds quite clear to me. Do we have any questions? No questions. Well, thank you. You can stand down. Councillor Jepson. Thank you.
Yeah, this is ongoing from previous term where the same members were on the working party that was representing council. And it's ongoing. You'll see some of the dates there are still coming up, on June 26th, for example. And it's an important piece of work because the council needs to maintain its right. Even though we're a small council, we need to try and I think it's been established through the negotiations we've had, we need to have equal say in this body. And that's the way it's set up. We're all of equal voice. So there's still a lot of work to take place in this space, and it's important that all members of council are informed of where we're at each stage. So it's not like a secret society or anything. The ongoing work does get relayed back to you in briefings, etc. So it's an important part of our role is to bring it back and have input from the community and from our council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jepson. Councillor Szymanski.
No, I'm pleased to see things moving forward with this. Yeah, I just hope it's done well.
Well said. Anyone else wish to speak to this item?
Yeah.
Councillor Tani.
Thank you, Your Worship. Given affordability is considered a risk for Kaipara, are there any thoughts around mechanisms or safeguards in relation to the ratepayers' protection during the transition phase?
That's good. Probably have our CE speak to that.
Well, no, we're in statements at the moment, so I assume that is a rhetorical question. But we can have that conversation further outside this forum here. Thank you. What does anyone else wish to speak to the motion? Okay, thank you, everybody. I think this is a hugely important piece of work. There is definitely some good momentum and a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And I think in the last term, we certainly did make some good progress and are in a good position to take this forward. It's a little like the model that's been announced is coming to us in local government in general yesterday afternoon, where there is an impetus on us to work with our neighbouring councils to have collaborative arrangements. So we will be doing more of this, no doubt, in the future in more parts of our councils. Okay, so I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Against, motion carried. The next item is item 5.5, which is elected member remuneration for 2025 to 2028. And we have a staff recommendation before us. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move that.
Councillor Jepson, the seconder.
Oh.
Councillor Rogers, thank you. Speaking to this item is Gillian Bruce. Welcome, Gillian.
Morning.
The floor is yours.
So my name's Gillian Bruce. I'm the Business Support Manager. So the Remuneration Authority regulates and sets the amount that can be paid to public officials. And rather than setting out how much each elected member gets, they set the total amount for the pool and leave it to the council to decide how much they'll allocate. This year, the remuneration pool is set at $496,127 to be shared equally between the Mayor and 7 councillors. So last week, you indicated a preference for a semi-flat structure, and this is the simplest structure. I've simplified the model, allocating $20,000 to the Deputy Mayor to recognise the additional work involved in that role, and the rest of the pool has been divided equally between the ward representatives. Because we have to allocate the exact amount of pool, there's a small adjustment I need to make to the recommended option that I'd like you to note. The Deputy Mayor's salary needs to be adjusted down by 4 cents, not 4%, 4 cents, to read as $79,515 $1,000.84 rather than the 88 it says. This is to meet the amount of the pool exactly. So I apologise for that, but that's it's just a note that we need to make to the recommendation. So that's our recommended option, that the Deputy Mayor receives that $79,515.84. I'll take the rest of the paper as read. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions? There are no questions. Thank you, Gillian. You can stand down. Before we go any further, we have a motion on the table which we've been suggested needs to be amended. The mover and the seconder happy to have it amended by agreement. That is Councillors Jepson and Rogers.
Is that the 4 cents we're discussing here?
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you, great. Undue hardship.
See, we need the council.
I'm happy to amend it.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm happy to amend that.
Happy to amend it? That's very lucky. Okay, we will move to statements. Councillor Jepson, thank you.
You know, I'm happy with this. The role of the Deputy Mayor is an important one, and he's a very important backup for the Mayor on committees, etc., and things that happen around the district when the time role of the Mayor means he can't always undertake some of those roles. So the Deputy Mayor is relied upon to step in a lot of instances. So, yeah, I just support that motion. The extra work is recognised. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jepson. Councillor Rogers.
I think it sounds good. Yeah. Hope he's not broke from the less 4 cents.
First world hardship.
Yeah.
Okay, is anyone else to speak to the motion? No. Back to you, Councillor Jepson.
Nothing further to say.
I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, so I'm going to now vacate to the chair for item 5.6 and hand it over to the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lambeth. You have the appropriate pages in front of you here.
Yep. So we welcome to the presentation, Mr. Day and Mrs. Overton. 5.6, proposed district plan engagement of supplier panel. Yeah, so if we could have a mover and a seconder for 5.6, the proposed district plan change. Got a mover? Yep. Councillor Szymanski and a seconder, Councillor Williams. Thank you.
Good morning, elected members. I'd like to introduce Catherine Overwater, our Manager Planning and Policy, and she will be leading the district plan team. She plays a vital role in that space. So look, what we're here today to do is to seek approval to re-engage our supplier panel for the proposed district plan. So we, back in 2021, we established a supplier panel to assist council to develop our draft and proposed district plan. This process was undertaken using a robust registration of interest process to the open market, followed by a request for proposal process that took us several months. We were very lucky to secure a panel of highly skilled technical experts that have been supporting us for the past 4 years. The term of the original contracts was for 3 years. It got rolled over for a further 1 year. And what we're seeking to do today is to seek approval to extend the contract of our suppliers for a further 3 years, which will get us through the hearings process of the proposed district plan and then the appeals phase as well. On page 2 of the report, you'll see that we require specialist expertise from hazardous substances experts, heritage experts, notable trees experts, legal, noise, designations, and general planning assessments, as well as economic assessments. So the team who have been helping us for the past 4 years have an intimate knowledge of our proposed district plan, have been really, really helpful for us. And Catherine can attest to this, have full confidence that they are the best candidates to support us on this journey. And so that is why we wish to re-engage them. Anything further you want to add, Catherine?
Good morning, elected members. So I'm Catherine Overwater, and the probably the only other thing to add really to Michael's spiel there is we followed a very robust process back in 2021 with the help of Frank Aldridge, who's from the Inaugural group. So he's a specialist procurement expert. And when we went through that process, we had a huge number of candidates. So what we've picked for our panel is the best of the best. And as Michael said, we've had a great working relationship with them for many years and want to continue that given the urgency of the district plan hearings coming up very soon. So yeah, just to give you full confidence that there's been a robust process followed at the very beginning. And the reason obviously we've come to council today for approval is simply because of the value of the entire contract. So it's not just, some of the contracts are quite small on their own. They might be worth $10,000 or $20,000, but collectively, you know, we're talking quite a big chunk of money in terms of the project cost overall, and that's cumulative over the years that the project's been running for and will proceed to keep going for up until the appeals phase. So hopefully that gives you a bit more context in terms of the procurement behind this.
Happy to answer questions.
Do we have any questions for that?
Hazardous substances? Just trying to get an idea of how they, on the district plan, where that fits in.
Yep, so there's a whole chapter on hazardous substances. So we used a technical expert, Norbert Schaffenauer, German name. He is one of very few. It's quite hard to find experts on hazardous substances in New Zealand. But just to give us advice around the quantity thresholds that needed to go into the district plan, because I am a planner, I don't know how much, you know, substances it's going to take to blow something up or cause significant adverse effects. And so that covers a range of substances across the district, from your general fertilizers to potentially industrial substances that are used for cleaning,
and
things like that.
And through the chair, under the RMA, it's a legislative requirement for council to manage hazardous substances in our district.
And I imagine changing any of these now would be reasonably disruptive to you anyway, I would have thought.
Absolutely, and to the chair, like I tried to mention before, these experts are the best in the country and have been with us for 3+ years, know our plan intimately, and will be able to go on and bat for us better than anyone else in the country.
Thank you. Thank you. If required, how will Māori expertise be incorporated into any sort of PDP hearing or work streams?
So I can answer that one, Councillor Tane. So we're bringing a paper to you in December with appointment of commissioners. And at that point, we are looking specifically at appointing somebody with Māori tikanga perspective and understanding iwi and hapu perspectives. So that will be incorporated into the decision making. And for the expert topics, we're just looking at the right people within our team who have the best knowledge and experience from a planning perspective. So that's the experts and technical people that are on this list. A lot of them do have, you know, a breadth of experience in that space, and obviously they put that to the decision makers. So we'll be bringing another paper to you on the decision making, and this is really about the planning expertise and technical guidance that we get for the district plan. Yeah.
Comments?
Thank you. Just one further question from me. What measures do you have in place to ensure accountability and performance from the panel?
So in the contracts, there are provisions around performance and, if things are not happening, that we have conversations. I would say that with the way that, because I'm the sort of lead officer here at council that manages each of these contracts. So I have regular catch-ups with them to, manage how things are going, the budgetary requirements, etc. So yeah, basically if there's any non-performance issues, we kind of deal with it. And the reason we're putting forward this panel as a complete package to you is because we do have the trust and confidence on everyone on this panel. If we didn't have that, we would be probably looking to go back to market and redo the panel. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions? And now we've got a chance.
Thank you. You listen. Oh, that's awesome.
We will see a lot more of you. Right, we move to the mover's statement. Mr. Smedsky. Councillor Smedsky, I should say.
Yeah, I'm happy with the group that have been put together. I hope they work together and perform well, and yeah, continue on with the annual and long-term plans.
Thank you. And from the seconder, Councillor Williams.
Yeah, I think it's important to maintain the continuity and the expertise that are in the supplier panel at the moment. So I fully support this motion.
Anyone else wish to speak to this? Councillor Jepson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, look, this is a huge ongoing piece of work, and a lot of it's the combination of a lot of work that was done in the previous triennium, and it's a very important document. So it's good to see that we've got a continuation of people that know the district, know the issues that are already out there that have been worked on for the last 3 years. So I'm really happy to see what's going on here. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'll just say one quick thing before I move back to the mover statement, just to carry on from Councillor Jepson. This is one of the biggest projects that this council has seen for a long, long time. It's very, very important. We're well advanced into it, and hopefully in a year and a half's time, we'll be fully engaged with this district plan with it all being completed. Councillor Smedsky, anything further to add?
No, Your Worship.
Okay, we'll put this matter to the vote. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Right, I shall vacate the chair and go and find, the pressure was too much for that reduction of 4 cents, so I'll go and get the mayor back in the seat.
I'll take the worship part back. Voted in.
It's cold.
We are now moving to item 5.7, which is the appointment of commissioners for the hearing on private plan change 85 Maungaturoto East. We have a staff recommendation before us. And do we have a mover, please? Okay, I will move this. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Nathan, thank you. Okay, speaking to this item, we have Paul Wanders and Catherine Overwater. Thank you. The floor is yours.
I'd just like to introduce Paul, if that's right. It's his first time meeting the new council. So Paul Wanders has been with us at council for many years and obviously leading this important piece of work for us on the private plan change 85 for Maungaturoto East, which is zooming through its Schedule 1 process. So yeah, over to you, Paul, to present the item today.
Thank you, Your Worship, councillors. Just to give you a bit of a background, the Resource Management Act allows for changes to be made to the district plan through a resource consent process, if the framework allows for that, or if the framework does not allow for it, then people can apply for plan changes. Can be council-initiated plan changes, or it can be private plan changes. Now, in terms of the Resource Management Act, a hearing on those particular plan changes should be conducted by accredited commissioners. Now, Council has a policy for the appointment of commissioners, which is attached to the memo as such, and we have been following that particular process. So at this particular point in time, we are at the point to appoint the commissioners. Now, the application of Plan Change 85, Mangawhai East, is just, for people who know Mangawhai, is just across the estuary to the southeast of the present Mangawhai village. Now, the application was submitted by two firms, Kaipara Mangawhai Limited and Pro Land Matters Company Limited, and it was submitted on the 12th of December 2024. So it's about a year ago. The application is for the rezoning of about 94 hectares of rural zoned land, present rural zoned land, at Black Swamp Road in Mangawhai, to become then the Mangawhai East Special Purpose Zone. So it has got a zoning on its own, a little enclave. And that will become a development area at the southeast of Mangawhai Township. Council is currently processing the private plan change of Mangawhai East and has previously accepted the application. And accepted doesn't mean approve, it means that all the requirements have been complied with, and now we can carry on with that particular application. And that was accepted on 25th of June 2025. The application was thereafter publicly notified on the 14th of July 2025 for public submissions. A total of 87 submissions were received. We notified those and for further submissions, and 11 further submissions were received on those particular submissions. So the next step in the RMA is in statutory process is holding a hearing, which is tentatively scheduled for the week of the 16th of February, actually starting on the 17th of February. Accordingly, commissioners need to be appointed to consider the application and hear the submissions on that particular application. Now, these were done in terms, or the next step is done in terms of our policy that we have adopted. So the recommendation that we put forward to Council is that we delegate the functions and duties and powers under Section 34A1 of the Resource Management Act to a hearing panel to conduct hearings and recommend to Council the outcomes on the private plan change 85 Mangawhai East. Secondly, to approve that 3 commissioners be appointed to the hearing panel, comprising of 2 independent commissioners and 1 internal commissioner, in other words, a councillor. Then we have then used the process prescribed, and we recommend to appoint Dr. Lee Beattie as chair and as Commissioner Bill Smith. And as independent commissioner, we consider to appoint Councillor Gordon Lambeth as the internal commissioner. Just to note that we have followed strictly the protocol and procedures in terms of the appointment of commissioners policy. Any questions?
Any questions from council? No questions. Thank you. You can stand down. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. This is really a procedural process to allow the applicant to continue through their private plan change application process. So that's good to progress matters here. Councillor Nathan.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm pleased to see in the research undertaken that impacts on Māori, that there were none. So I'm gathering that the team had followed through due diligence within the mana whenua context. So happy to tautoko and support this line of work moving forward.
Thank you. Councillor Nathan, does anyone else want to speak to the motion? Oh, okay, I have nothing further to add. If we could have the motion up on the screen, please. Okay, so that's what we're voting on. Put that to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carries. Thank you. We'll move to item 5.8, Maungaturoto Hurndall Street slip repair urgent works. We have a staff recommendation before us here that the Kaipara District Council approve the allocation of $260,000 urgent repairs to Maungaturoto Hurndall Street, funded from retained earnings. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Tane. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Rogers, thank you. Okay, so speaking to this item is Brian Hagan and Hayley as well. Floor is yours. If you'd like to introduce yourselves to the council and then present your item. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Worship, elected members. I'm Brian Hagan, Manager Project Delivery. I think you know Hayley, my manager.
Yes.
So we're here today obviously to present a paper on the Hurndall slip, historical slip in Hurndall Street. And obviously there's a significant risk currently with the temporary fix supporting a wastewater line, sewer line, also services in the region underneath the footpath. And the temporary fix is also supporting the footpath, and there's a potential that State Highway 12 may be implicated if there's any further movement in the slip. Just want to do a quick summary. Need to just correct the date and the context there. The actual date of the slip was July 2022, not 2023 storm event. So that's significant in the fact that there was the initial investigation pointed to the fact that the pipe bursting may have caused the slip. It's a bit of a chicken and egg syndrome. Did the slip cause the pipe to burst, or did the pipe bursting cause the slip? And also that is important because we've attempted to get some support from roading for funding, but that has been unsuccessful due to those two factors. So the temporary fix was identified over a site during a site walkover earlier this year. Prior to that, we were unaware of this situation. So after 3.5 years, obviously we need to put something in permanent in place. So we actioned a geotech report, September 2025, draft design, then proceeded after that. So there's two recommendations, as you'll see in the report. A timber retaining wall or a retaining wall with steel beams. The timber retaining wall is slightly cheaper, but will have more deflection, so more horizontal movement, whereas the steel will not. So it secures the pipe and it is safer for us going forward, obviously. So we're recommending that steel UC or universal column wall be constructed for the approximate cost of $260,000. We're proposing that funding come from retained earnings, so there's a healthy budget there at this stage and will not impact on rates. And we can deliver this project through the current team who are in the process of upgrading the pipe running under the bridge. So that's a quick summary. Thank you. Open for questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
It's right on the main street, isn't it?
Yes, State Highway 12, that's
Correct, yeah.
There'd be a large amount of disruption for all the shops and stuff in there, doing the work.
Just by the pub, it's further along as you go towards Gas and go.
In the hill a bit.
Yeah, just the bottom of the hill.
Mhm.
Yeah. There will potentially need to be traffic management, obviously, to construct the wall. So that will, you know, for a limited time, will cause some disruption.
Any other questions?
The footpath over the bridge.
Mansky?
Oh, sorry. The footpath over the bridge itself is quite sort of undulating at the moment, obviously, probably due to the slip. This will be rectified sort of as part of the project?
Correct, yeah, through the chair. The plan is to construct a retaining wall, remove the broken footpath, install the new pipework, and then backfill up and install a new footpath.
Thank you. Further questions? Brian, could you just explain for the council how this retained earnings funding occurs? Explain what retained earnings are.
We'll just pass that over to Sue from Finance to answer that question, if that's okay.
Through the chair, not being a finance person, I will defer to Sue, who is the finance.
Yeah. So you'll recall that early on in the annual plan, we recognised that there was likely to be some excess retained earnings because of the fact that our employee budget, we were well under, we'd just done a restructure, and NTA was being disestablished and brought back into council. And so we had a huge cost deficit between what we budgeted and what the actual was. And also in terms of interest received, because of the fact that our capital program was not advancing as quickly as had been originally budgeted. So we had money in the bank, lots of interest received. So at the time we did the annual plan, we made an estimate that we thought we would have an excess of 1.1 retained earnings, and you then proceeded to spend that on some outstanding one-off items in our annual plan for this year. But at the end of 25-26, I can report that employee costs were actually further down on what we budgeted, and interest received was more, and this can be covered by that. And we'll do a full reconciliation for you when we come to do the annual plan with you for the following year, so that you understand that. But it can be covered in the retained earnings. So what I was asked by my colleagues was to find how we could fund it now rather than putting it in the annual plan for next year. And I believe if it went into roading, that would be unsubsidised in rates. So that is one option. But I looked for items where it didn't impact on the ratepayers.
Another question. Thank you, Councillor Lambeth.
Yeah, through your worship, I may have missed it, but it is State Highway 12. Are we funding this 100% from the KDC funds, or are NZTA contributing anything to it? Or the other question in light of that, I assume that the road structure is not affected, but it's a drainage. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct. Because it's from the footpath out into basically KDC owned land, that it doesn't fall within their jurisdiction, so we have to fund it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. You can stand down. Councillor Tane.
Just a short comment, Your Worship. Just happy to support the remedial work for this particular project.
Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, I'd be happy to see it done, especially seeing that's a big risk that stream goes straight into the pipe for us. So we really don't want to risk that, in my opinion.
Thank you. Any other elected members wish to speak? Councillor Nathan.
Just to acknowledge the team for actually sourcing some funding for it to be done straight away. That's great because it's not going to impact on the rate payers. So kia ora.
Any other elected members wish to speak? Back to you, Councillor Tane. Reply if you'd like to speak any further.
You know, nothing further to speak, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put this to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We'll move to item 5.9, which is road naming applications for approval. And we have a recommendation there. Can I have a mover, please?
Move that.
Councillor Jepson, a seconder. Councillor Williams, thank you. Okay, and speaking to this item, we have Debbie Aravji, who is joining us online. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. So kia ora, morning, Mayor Larson and councillors. I'm Debbie Ravji. I'm presenting a report today for approval on two developments in Mangawhai. One is MetLife Care. They are wanting to name Road 7 and in their development, and I have also Mangawhai Hills Limited seeking 3 name approvals, 2 being vested to council and 1 being a private joel, which is a jointly owned lot. So that means that the owners of that road will be maintaining it. I don't know if anyone had any questions for me.
Are there any questions? No questions. Thank you. Debbie, you can stand down.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Jepson.
Yeah, this is a pretty common thing to want to get road naming, and those names look appropriate. And they're, one particularly is a private access way. The other one is privately jointly owned. One is to be vested in council, which is the Titaki Drive, and the other one, Hills Boulevard, is a public road to be vested to council. So, yeah, I think those names are appropriate. Thank you.
Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I'm happy to support this. It actually goes through policy and goes through LINs, so it's actually quite a structured process, the road naming. So I'm happy to support this.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Anyone else wish to speak? Thank you. We've followed through a process of obviously stringent checking to make sure the names are appropriate, but also I think we've used in the past where we can accommodate the developers to let them have some ownership of their lands. They've put a lot of time and feel a lot of ownership in their properties, and so I think it's good that they get to use names that they want to use. Okay, back to you, Councillor Jepson.
Nothing further to add, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. I will put this to the vote. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We'll now move to item 5.10, which is the Riskpool Trust Deed Variation. Thank you, Sue Davidson. We have a recommendation before us there. I have a mover, please. Councillor Rogers. Can I have a seconder, please? Okay, I will second it. Thank you, Stu. The floor is yours.
So this is from Riskpool. Riskpool was established by Local Government Insurance Corp. It's now called LGIC Civic Assurance, and the Local Government Mutual Funds Trustee Limited as a not-for-profit mutual fund to provide collective liability for councils at a time when commercial insurance had become unreliable and expensive, and there were lots of claims on local government for leaky homes. So it's provided cover for councils for about 20 years and returned more in claims than contributions in less expenditure. But it's been, since 2017, it's been managed and wind down, focused on managing a number of legacy claims against the scheme. And the latest one, I think, was in Napier. So they want, the trustees want some proposed amendments to the trust deed to clarify that duties are owed by Local Government Mutual Funds Trustee Limited and not the board, confirms the trustees' ability to distribute surpluses to members, and there's not likely to be any of those. What we're actually getting is the final liability before they wind up with all the claims that have been made through the leaky buildings, and updates the deed to show that Civic Financial Services is the scheme manager, and inserts proper indemnity and liability protections for the board and tidies up some terms and minor drafting issues. So this is an admin thing for them to continue representing us and all the other councils that are a member of Riskpool.
Thank you. Sue, do we have any questions? No questions, you can stand down, thank you. You had your hand up?
Just wanted to confirm it's it.
On, thank you.
All right, apologise. Your worship. I just want to confirm that doesn't change any of the liability the Kaipara Council agreeing does?
No,
No.
jointly and severable liable, and all councils in New Zealand, when there's something that was quite major, I think in Napier, was we all had to front up some funds.
Do we have a provision in our books at the moment for any potential liability in this?
I think we have paid one or two payments this year, about 20,000, but I'm not sure. I'll have to ask Jessie exactly if there was any provision.
Do report that through, I think, to audit risk as well.
Yes, we report all the every time we make payments, audit and risk.
That's correct, and we don't have a provision for budgeting. We don't have money set aside for this, but most of the time we are covered by insurance, and when we're not covered by insurance, we discuss that with the audit and risk, and we do declare a little bit of a contingent liability in our annual report, just around the uncertainty, because yeah, we can get claims, and often they're private for a reason, because we don't want other people to think that that's an option, because people are going to try against council all the time. So sometimes that's just a case of it happens and we have insurance for it. And if it's not got insurance, we will talk to you through that.
Has there ever been any discussion, because I understood there's a couple of legal cases here, that if they all went the opposite way, has there ever been any consideration given to what our share of that liability might be?
It's so uncertain because of the court case. If you're talking about Riskpool, it's so uncertain, so no one can make that determination until it's gone through the courts. So because it's all with the courts, it could be anything or nothing, and that's a part of what we disclose in our annual report as well.
Very much a worry about it at the time, sort of thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No further questions. Okay, thank you. You can stand down. Councillor Rogers, did you want to speak to this?
Yes. It seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you. It's just really technical amendments there. So nothing further from any other elected members want to speak? Back to you, Councillor Rogers.
All good.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Okay, thank you, everybody. We will now adjourn for lunch and come back at 12:33. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. We're moving into our information items now. The first item is item 6.1, decisions made under delegation during the 2025 election period. Thank you, Alana.
I'll take this one, Your Worship.
Actually, well, let's get this on the table first, eh?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a staff recommendation, which is simply to note the decisions. I'm happy to move that. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Jepson, thank you. Thanks, Alana or Jason.
Thank you very much. So, Council, the report's quite in depth. It does give you the delegation report as well. That afforded me delegation over the interregnum period, it's called. Quite a weird name. I only made one decision in that space, so this is just formally reporting this back to you for openness and transparency with you and obviously the community. And the one decision I made was around extending the appointments of the District Licensing Committee. Now, that's a really important committee. It's a really important function where they make alcohol licensing decisions on behalf of council, and of which Councillor Lambeth is a member. And they're appointed for a 5-year period. They are required to be reviewed, but to buy this council enough time to do that review, I've extended the appointments for a further 8 months. So then we can take you through that journey, and it'll be a formal appointment process and an advertisement type process as well, to look at the membership of the DLC. So basically all I did was extend it out for another 8 months to allow this council to go through that process. Happy to take questions, Your Worship.
Are there any questions? There are no questions. Okay, well, thank you. We're just noting this item, but so I don't have anything to say about it. Councillor Jepson.
Nothing further to add.
Any other elected members wish to speak? All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.2, updates on the 2025 Kaipara District Council local elections. We have a staff recommendation to note these various matters. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Szymanski, seconded by Councillor Williams. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Maris.
Thank you very much. This report is literally provided on the agenda to, again, for openness and transparency, sort of update you and the community on the outcome of a couple of things to do with the election. One of them was about the formal response from the DIA and provide that publicly, given the emergency meeting of council held in the previous term in the last week of the election period. And you'll note in that the response to the complaint that was lodged by the mayor and lodged by the mayor on behalf of the council was to, as advised in the meeting, follow the processes available to participants of the election or electors, to follow the process, which is a recount or a judicial inquiry. Now, what the report also advises, obviously there were 3 recounts for this council. The district court made a determination on all 3 recounts and declined to do the recount on all 3 counts. And for the judicial inquiry timeframe, you may see from the report that it was a certain period of time, 21 days, post notification of the election results. We received no judicial inquiry application to the district court. Now, regarding the complaint that was lodged, the DIA have obviously said the process is to follow the judicial inquiry, and none was received. From my perspective, the staff and electoral officer and myself conducted a really sound election process. There were issues from my perspective, and so I'm very proud of the team, in fact. And one stat that's kind of lost in the noise, I suppose, was that the previous election voter turnout was 47.6. We lifted it to 58.4%, which I think is a good result for our community and a good result for our council as well. And just to note also that the electoral officer and myself will report more formally back to council on the conduct of the elections as is normal, likely February, March next year. And that's a normal matter of process that we always do after the election as well, to give you a bit more detail around all of that. Happy to take any
Very
questions.
good, thank you. Mr. Maris, any questions on this item, which is just to note these various matters? No questions. Okay, thank you. Councillor Szymanski.
Nothing further to add. Yeah, nothing further to add. Thanks.
Councillor Williams.
I'm happy to note the report. Thank you.
Any other elected members wish to speak? Councillor Nathan.
I just want to acknowledge the team for an amazing election. It was phenomenal in terms of the turnout, and I'm very proud to have been from the Wairua ward, and we were ranked right up there with everybody else in New Zealand. So a massive mihi to the team for the work undertaken. Kia ora.
Thank you, Councillor Nathan. Anyone else wish to speak? I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, motion carried. Now we move to item 6.3, which is the quarterly performance measures report. And speaking to this is Mr. Maris. Thank you, Jason. Well, do we have a recommendation there? I will move it. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Tanya. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much. So I just want to sort of set the framework for a quarterly report first. It's the first time that 5 of you will have seen this before. And I'll refer you to page 490 in that is page 2, the introduction piece. There are a couple of key points here with a quarterly report. You as a council set the large bulk of our measures as part of the long-term plan process. So they're set in stone until the next long-term plan process, which will be starting with you in the new year. So part of that work will be looking at the measures. I do need to make a note, though, that some of the measures, and when we take you through this work, are statutory-based measures. So we're required to report them as well. So there's little flexibility or no flexibility in some of those measures. And we'll take you through that when we get to the review piece. The other aspect is it's actually quite good timing that you approved the annual report today, because you would have seen the statement of service provision and our performance in that space. This is a culmination of the quarterly reports that have gone through the year, and we report it backwards facing in the annual report. So it makes up a foundation and the results for the annual report, which you adopted today as an example. The other thing is that you'll need to understand is a lot of those measures are based on a customer perception survey. We do this regularly out in the community, and we will report that data back to you. But also some of the measures in here are based on a survey. We haven't done the survey yet. Or we've done it, we just haven't got the results into the quarterly report yet. So the next report you will see will have all of that information in there. On that page, you'll see the quarters, and obviously when we're reporting them too, just ahead of that box. And also a summary of the quarter is in that table below, and it's probably a good place to sort of pick off for now. If you see, if I refer to that, there's green, 44 of the measures are on track. 6 may or may not be achieved, and 2 currently not achieved. I'll just focus on the 2 not achieved at the moment. And I'll go to page 501 or page 13 of that report, just to highlight them for you. People do tend to go to the red. So one of them is a discharge compliance on the resource consents from wastewater. We didn't achieve that based on 1 notice, see from the Kaiwaka wastewater treatment plant due to multiple overflows. So there is an issue there that we'll work through. And also building consents, which is 8.2 on page 508 or page 20 of the actual quarterly report. And you know, this is not normal. Actually, our building consents are one of the best teams in the country, as a matter of fact, in their results. However, we did have a couple of overdue RFIs. Overdue situations due to multiple RFIs. So that's requests for information. as well. But likewise, 97 out of 100, so not the end of the world. However, over the course of a year, I think that's improved. I didn't want to drown you in detail because I assume you've all read it as well. So I'm going to leave it at the high level, but I'm very happy to take questions. And if I need to, I'll phone a friend from the executive team as well, if you need more detail. So,
thank you, Mr. Maris. Does anyone have any detailed questions they wanted to ask on this report? If you don't occur to you now, you can always come back later. No questions. Well, that was nice and simple for you.
Excuse me.
Too late. Szymanski.
Chair, Mr. Maris, on the same page, your 20 regulatory functions, percentage for legal activities are unauthorised work complaints, 2 processed. Can you enlighten us on that?
So this is the 8.4 percentage of illegal activity, unauthorised work complaints investigated within 3 working days. Yeah, so we've missed that. The numbers are really low. Yeah, so we've missed it by 1.
Oh yeah.
But we haven't had a lot of numbers, so it makes it
the activity is
quite a big thing at 50% when it's actually not.
Yeah.
What we'll see is where our target's 93. Hopefully, through the next couple of reports, you will see us focus on that.
Is that activity from the ratepayers themselves or from council proceeding? Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. All right, well, that's a reasonably robust report. I think we'll be looking at this more closely as we get through our planning cycles and maybe refining things as we get elected member input. Councillor Tane.
Yeah, just exactly what you said, Your Worship. Looking forward to the next quarterly report so we can see progress from this report, especially around the red rated activity.
Thank you. And does anyone else wish to speak to the item? No? Okay. I'll put this to the vote. All those in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carried. We move to item 6.4, which is the exceptions report. And over to you, Mr. Maris. We'll just get this motion on the table to note the exceptions report. Have a mover for that? I'll move it. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Nathan, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just start us off before I hand over to Jesse, which is our normal way we roll here. The exceptions report is it grows a bit, but it is primarily designed to give you information every month about our performance and where we're at, things like financials, that sort of thing. But also, there is quite a lot of information in there too. So it gives you the opportunity to ask us questions as well. What we normally do is we normally start out with a bit of a financial overview, and then we'll take questions post that. And Jesse generally does this for us. So I'm going to hand over to Jesse.
Thank you, Jason. Good afternoon, councillors and Your Worship. So yeah, attached today, your exceptions report. You have some attachments, and these are your exceptions. I'm responsible for the finance report and also the CapEx report, which is the last attachment. So the finance report, I just wanted to talk you through it, seeing as it is your first meeting. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to run it through for everyone. So on the finance report, you have a statement of comprehensive revenue and expense. This takes the same format as our annual report that you adopted earlier today. You've got your revenue, your expenditure, and your operating surplus. You have your actual spend for the year to date, for the 4 months, ended 31 October. You have your budget for year to date, as of 31 October, what potentially council should have spent by now. Then you have how much we're under or over budget by in the variance column year to date. You then have the whole year's budget in the next column, and then the prior year's whole year results in the final column. That just gives
Sorry, excuse me, just think that it's useful if there are public following once again, if we put the agenda up on the screen, that remote viewers can see it.
Yeah.
Helps the members to follow as well. Pause for a moment.
In the exceptions report, it's the second page of the attachment. I'm sorry, I don't look at the full agenda like you guys do.
Agenda.
So if you just start from the next page up and potentially just scroll through. So the statement of comprehensive revenue expense, as I described, just shows our year-to-date results and our full year budget and our full year annual, previous year's actual results to give you context to the figures. Further down, we have a little bit of an activity cost analysis that that is our activity cost, what the variances under there. We try and report on the top line items that are the biggest variances when we present that table. Further down on the next page of the report, we actually give you a bit of detail around what makes up the numbers, the variances, and what is causing those variances. So we give you the context to what you're seeing in those tables. And the next page 5, you then get to a little bit of expenses. We're talking about those there. If you keep scrolling down, you will see the next page is a by award presentation of the numbers. This has been requested by elected members in the past, and it becomes more relevant the closer to the end of the year we get. It's really, as we go through a year, we don't, we might have more spend in different wards as we go through the year. So that will keep changing.
Can you just clarify for the elected members, you've started at the 1st of July with this accounting here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So the numbers here are based on actual spend. There's a lot of work that would need to be done to do effective ward reporting because, for example, in roading, we don't have the supplier recording that on the invoices. So there's a bit of work that's needed to do, but we've gone into the asset databases to see where they're spending the money on which sites so that we could give you this information. And so I'm just trying to explain that this over the year will become more accurate as the full year is spent. Alana, if you
So sorry, Jessie, so just going forward, if we could just have that made a little clearer in this reporting that it is the period from the 1st of July 2025 to or close up and off.
And I can make that
clear what time frame is it? We would assume it was that.
Yes.
Just while you're there, if you could just talk us through what you're showing here.
Yeah, I mean, what we're showing you here is that the bottom line where it says percentage ward funded, that is how much when we rate ratepayers, that is how much we've collected per ward. So that is based on a number of factors, but usually land value at the moment comes into play there. So you can see that Kaipara Mangawhai is paying 45% in general of the general rate, just due to the land value that we have. And then further up, you have the percentage spend. So the 46, 25, 24, that's showing you that we're spending that money that's collected there from the general rate. 40%, 6% is going on the Wairoa ward, 25 on Oshimatea and 24 on Kaiwaka Mangawhai. And in general, that's because our infrastructure is in existence in Dargaville. And so we have a lot to maintain on the West Coast. So if that's in a nutshell, And the same again for parks and libraries. So we're just trying to show you where we collect the money from and then where it gets spent. Yeah. And then further down a little bit, we summarise the capital expenditure that has been spent for the year and where we were at. So if you look at this table, it's 19% of our CapEx overall has been spent to date, and that's against a large budget of 80.8 million. That includes your carryovers. And then further down, we talk about your debt levels, how much money we have in the...
Could I just back you up to the capital expenditure? Can you just clarify for us in terms of our projections, how we're sitting in regards to what we had anticipated would be spent by this time of the year?
It's not easy to do that because I am not hearing from the project teams around when they're planning to spend the money. Though I do know from history that we spend a lot over the summer periods, especially in roading, because that's what they've done last year, is they've got themselves ready so that come the summer season they can get a lot of works done. And I'd say the same thing would probably apply to some of the other construction that we're doing.
Jason's going to speak to that, but just for context, we have had in the past a desire from the elected members to try to minimise the amount of carryovers we get in capital works. And so we agreed last term that we would wrap up all the previous carryovers from the previous year and put them together with the new capital works program this year and actually have a robust, structured program so that we tracked progress to make sure we actually spent the rates we'd collected by the end of the financial year and weren't carrying significant amounts over. So Jason will be itching to tell us about how that's been done and is rolling out. So I've just asked a question about it and I got an answer that we didn't know, but he probably is going to tell me that we do know now, I suspect.
No, so I'll get Hayley to talk to it in a second, but there are different elements to this. The roading is a really important element to it. It's an $80 million roading program over 3 years. And Jesse's 100% correct. This is the roading season starts around about now into March, where the weather and the conditions are right for roading. So there is a significant uplift in spend. We don't have any issues with the roading, the maintenance operations and roading budget. They will spend it all. Actually, and I have no issues there. I'm just going to recall back to the report at the briefing on the projects that we did last week. There was some information in that report about our progress in those works as well. And I'm going to throw out a stat, and I hope I get it right. Hayley's going to tell me if I'm wrong, but we're roughly just over 19% through the program at a 25% stage. So we're slightly behind, but we're doing okay. And I will ask Hayley to talk to that now if I can.
Yeah, I can't comment on roading, but so two things. The first one is carry forwards from last year. Those are prioritised to be delivered first before we pick up new projects. We don't like to carry forwards over multiple financial years, so it's our priority to burn through those, and we hope to have burnt through those before Christmas. And the second point is in the PMO briefing that we provided last week, that we were here, we have just over a third of our projects sitting in design and tender at the moment. And so we expect in the new year for a significant amount of projects to start moving into execution delivery. So I think out of the about 120 projects in the annual plan, about 40 odd of those are sitting in planning and design as well. So we will see in the new year, in the summer, a lot of projects move out of that planning and design stage and tender stage straight into actually being done out in the public community.
Thank you. Thanks. Hayley?
So so we are, if you keep scrolling down, Alana, to the next page, it's just giving you some graphical depictions of our capital expenditure versus total budgets. And we're also showing to you what our debt levels and our cash position are. So that is the finance report. It is a high-level report. If I go back to the top of the report, where you're looking at the statement of comprehensive and revenue and expense, what I'm seeing here is a council that is pretty much on budget. So year to date, when your operating costs are concerned, you're pretty much on par with where you should have been at this point in the year. There's no real big unders and overs that we're talking about at this stage. If you did have questions on them, I'm happy to take questions. And I'll just quickly, before I open for questions, help you scroll all the way to the end of this report, and I'll show you the capital expenditure report by project. So this is the other part that finance produces. It's the actual spend that we saw in that table earlier. That's just been given to you by project, basically. So you can see if we have understanding of what's happening with those projects, we will put a comment in for your benefit. But it's essentially just breaking down all the projects that are underneath that CapEx there. So yeah, if you do have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Okay, Councillor Canton, thank you.
Your Worship. Just a couple of quick ones, if I can. One of your exception variances got about camping ground income is behind budget. Do we actually run some camping grounds?
Yes, we run a couple of camping.
Not just lease?
Sorry, we lease out most of our camping grounds and they're privately managed, but we run the Taharoa Domain Campground Kaiwi Lakes. So it's, you know, just a good question just to point out to you all, our budgets are phased evenly. That just means that the assumption is you'll have spent 4/12 by now. Now, sometimes that doesn't apply. And as you know, people go camping in summer. So that's just going to stay like that until summer, and then it will be bang up again, if that makes sense.
I didn't realise that we ran them. I thought there would only be leasehold, and so we would have a reasonably regular income. And under your by ward expenditure income, you got details with the three little apostrophes or dashes next to it. And then you got some road names. Is that where the work's being done, or which roads, or?
You just refer the elected members to the page of the agenda. Or
Page 5. Oh, no, it's page 5 of the exception report.
521, I think.
And under Wairo, it's got Red Hill, Mount Wellesley, Old Wesley.
Those are the names of the cemeteries that we're looking after. So they're not necessarily referring to, we're just trying to give you an understanding of.
I see.
Yeah, we just
see. So they tie back to the.
It's not very clear because this is very manual.
Yeah.
So it's not set, it's just a manual table that we have to sort of doctor around each time. And I'm sure we could do a better job of it, but we've got had other priorities as well.
No, it gives us,
but it gives you a bit of a taste. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you. Jesse, you can stand down. Well, I think it's a really good reporting, and we're getting some good structures in there, and gives us a good starting point to build knowledge around this key work. Councillor Nathan.
Just to tautoko what you've said, Your Worship, I was very impressed with the breakdown for the general rate by ward in terms of the expenditure, so that our ratepayers can clearly see that 46% was spent within the Wairua ward, and it's really good for us to be able to have that information and data. So kia ora. I think that's from me.
Other elected members want to speak? Okay, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. We'll now move to our final item, which is item 6.5, resolutions register update. And thank you, Alana. The floor is yours. Just one moment. I better put this first. We've got a motion here, a recommendation to note the report. I have a mover, please. Councillor Lambeth, and seconded by Councillor Jepson.
So I'll take this, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, Your Worship. Just by way of process, This is a way of tracking the decisions that you've made and progress with the implementation of those decisions. Some of them do take time. There are other aspects at play, so we try and update the council where things are at. Once they are completed, they will be listed as completed with an update on there, and then they'll disappear from the resolutions register. So the ones that you see completed now, you won't see them again in the next iteration of the resolutions register, which we do provide monthly as well. So it is primarily a tool so that you can sort of keep a track of progress about the decisions you've made. And the one I'd like to point out to you on this one actually is reference number 1 from the 24th of November 2021, and you'll see quite the story about the Bailey's Beach area, and it is now completed, which is significant actually for that community as well. So I think it's really good news. What we normally do is just point this out to you and give you the high level. If you have any questions about any specific ones, you feel free to ask. This is what it's about, and then we'll get the executive team to answer if we need to. So over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Maris. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Just in relation to that last one you've just completed now. Yes, the one you've spoken to at Bailey's. Yeah. And so we'll be having a completion event scheduled for that.
I'm not sure if we are going to have an event scheduled for that one, because we'll just have to check in with the team.
Which team's that? This team or that team?
And I'm looking at that.
Okay. Okay.
At this stage. Yeah. No, we're not scheduling. It's not like an opening. It's literally a repair of the side of the rock formation. But happy to take feedback. We weren't planning on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Just to add to that, I was there 2 days ago. So yeah,
is it looking good?
Yeah, it really is. Contrary to what some locals want, but no.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Bishop, for your time.
Okay, so you can now make your statement if you'd like. Have you finished the questions?
No, we'll call that my statement.
That was your statement. Okay. Councillor Gibson.
Pretty straightforward, thank you.
Any other elected members wish to speak? Okay, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Well, that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance. Thanks to those that have joined us online for taking an interest in these matters, and our staff team for putting together a really excellent first ordinary meeting. And you'd have to agree with me, I think, that it's a pretty wonderful venue that the Tangata Roria community have provided us. It's quite neat to come out here and use this wonderful facility. Okay, thank you. I declare the meeting closed.